to go to the first part of the agenda, the keynote speeches, and I'm happy and proud to welcome Gerlind Heckmann, the Deputy Director General for External Economic Policy in our Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy. Ms. Heckmann joined the ministry in 1993 and worked in various functions in the field of foreign trade. Thus, she has a very deep understanding of the topic at hand. And she also worked in the German embassy in Washington and Beijing. So, Ms. Heckmann, you have a very extensive experience. You are the Deputy Director General since 2019. So, and you are in charge of promoting and financing foreign trade and investment. And you're also in charge of the region, Ukraine, Eastern Europe, Caucasus, and Central Asia. So we are really looking forward to your short keynote. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Deputy Minister Kartashov, and dear ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure to address you on behalf of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. Let me begin by warmly thanking the Ukrainian Ministry for Economy, Environment and Agriculture for initiating this important event today. And today's discussions comes really at a critical moment for Ukraine and for all of us who believe in a free, resilient and economically strong Ukraine. Despite years of massive attacks on infrastructure, on cities, communities, and human lives, Ukrainian society remains still resilient and even vibrant. Through extraordinary efforts, it's demonstrating that the reconstruction of the country is underway, even before this incredibly cruel war has ended. At the Ukraine Recovery Conference this year in Rome, we were once again reminded of the sheer scale of the task that is lying ahead. According to the latest assessments, Ukraine will recover more than 500 billion euros and dollars, over the next decades for reconstruction. However, Ukraine 2025 also sent out a strong and a positive signal. Ukraine is not facing this challenge alone. It can count on many international partners. For Germany and its federal government, of course, Ukraine's economic recovery remains top priority. We remain firmly committed to supporting Ukraine politically, financially, and economically. At the same time, it's clear that public funding alone won't be sufficient and that we need a strong and a long-term involvement from the private sector. Here again, URC 2025 made us optimistic, given the broad business participation and present at the conference. We were particularly delighted and proud to see so many German companies being involved and represented at URC 2025, as well as our own BMW side event, which was attended by more than 100 participants. Similarly, our bilateral economic relations have developed very positively. In 2024, Ukraine became our most important trading partner in the former Soviet Union. In 2024, German exports to Ukraine rose by 17% to a record of 8.2 billion euro, while imports increased even more significantly, climbing up to 20.5% to around 3.5 billion euro. Our companies such as Bayer, Notus, Fixit, Quantum Systems, and Rehau, just to name a few, are already active across key sectors like defense, energy, logistics, and construction. And throughout the war, many companies remained in Ukraine. Some have even expanded, contributing to a growing economy. In order to consolidate this positive trend and to attract sufficient future investments, it's, however, crucial to put the right conditions in place. And this, of course, entails internal reforms within Ukraine to guarantee an attractive investment and business environment. Germany stands ready to support Ukraine on its path for reforms, which is also going to be crucial for the EU accession process. Additionally, today, or already today, our government supports German companies doing business in Ukraine through a variety of instruments. For instance, our decision to keep our investment and export credit instruments open for projects in Ukraine continues to generate a very positive response. And moreover, Germany UkraineInvest created the Ukraine Business Guide on our behalf. It provides information on funding instruments, on current market developments, and sector-specific contexts to Ukraine. The guide was recently expanded on the occasion of the URC 2025. And soon it will also feature a so-called investment ticker, which will publish investment projects by German and international companies in Ukraine, demonstrating once more that doing business successfully in Ukraine is already possible today. At the Ukraine 2025, we also announced the expansion of our business delegation program. In the past, we have welcomed Ukrainian companies to Germany from IT tech to defense tech, and more visits are planned, including one for a security and defense industry delegation this October. Moreover, we are looking forward to the next rebuilt Ukraine in Warsaw in November, where there will be a German pavilion again offering a platform for dialogue and exchange. I'm also going to be again at the rebuild, and I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully many of you in Warsaw. Our aim remains clear: to provide companies with the tools, the structures, and the networks needed to engage in Ukraine's recovery in a targeted and informed way, and to enhance German and Ukrainian business cooperation. In the light of all this, I wish you all an inspiring exchange and fruitful discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister Gerlind Heckmann, for your keynote speech. I'd like to now hand over to our Ukrainian Minister, Pavlo Kartashov, your Deputy Minister in the newly formed Ministry of Economic Environment and Agricultural Policy. And in your CV, you have a very outstanding footprint in innovation and entrepreneurship. Previously, you've been CEO of the Ukrainian Startup Fund, for instance, the USF, perhaps the most important institution in Ukraine for promoting innovative projects and startups. So we at GTAI, we were quite happy to collaborate with USF already during a panel at the Cafe Kyiv in March. So we know your former institution already, and we are happy to hear from you. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to speak to you today. I see today more than 80 companies joined us for this event, and that's a very good sign. First of all, I would like to thank Germany UkraineInvest and Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy for organizing this event. Germany is one of Ukraine's most important economic partners, and my message today is simple. Ukraine is open for investment now. According to the latest recovery RDNA report by the World Bank, Ukraine's recovery will cost more than $500 billion over the next 10 years. This is probably the most largest reconstruction program in Europe since World War II. Despite the war, our economy is holding firm and even growing. For the first half of 2025, GDP grew nearly 1%, supported by strong demand, exports, international aid, and more stable energy sector. And for the whole 2025, we expect growth of 2.7% with inflation at a level of 9.5%. If the war ends and ports reopen, next year could bring like 4.5% of growth and exports up to 14%, with inflation at the level of 8%. By 2028, we will not yet back to pre-war levels, but steady growth is guaranteed by reconstruction, EU integration, and now strong structural reforms. To help investors, our ministry, together with KIC Institute, has created investment portal. This is a very good vehicle. This is a platform with over 300 private sector projects worth more than $40 million across 11 sectors, from energy and logistics to agro and manufacturing. At the same time, Ukraine is developing strategic industries. We hold almost 7% of global titanium reserves, 500,000 tons of lithium, and 20% of the world global graphite. These are critical for aerospace, defense, electric vehicles, especially in Europe. Dobra lithium tender, this is one of three largest in Europe, has already attracted strong interest. Our approach is very simple: joint ventures, supply agreements, local processing, and investment backed by guarantees, especially by IFIs. Our capital markets now reopening. In August, Kyivstar, a major telecom operator, was listed on Nasdaq at a valuation of $2.3 billion, raising over 20 million. And it's a milestone for Ukrainian economy. Privatization. This is also something which is moving ahead. In 2025, Ukraine plans to raise $3.2 billion from selling at least 10 large state-owned companies. These are different spheres: energy, mining, telecoms, and much more. Confiscated Russian assets, such as Ocean Plaza and Kyiv, are also being sold. All auctions are transparent, held through our Prozoro system, and in addition, we are preparing public-private partnerships covering ports, roads, utilities, and many others. Ukraine is also integrating with European Union. Within 5-7 years, we aim to become a full EU member. This is our aspiration, but we are doing a lot to achieve this. Already, our free trade agreement gives us access to one of the largest and most stable markets in the world. We are positioning Ukraine as a part of EU supply chains, especially with regard to critical raw materials and energy. Another fast-growing area is defense. By 2025, our defense industry is worth about $15 billion. This is almost 7% of GDP. Ukraine now produces artillery, drones, ammunition, and advanced systems at scale. More than 500 drones manufacturers are active with a capacity of up to 5 million units per year. Just yesterday, we held a big defense tech event, Defense Valley in Kyiv, which gathered altogether around 5,000 to 6,000 people. Of course, I must highlight GTAI. This is something new, and this is special legal and tax framework for IT and innovation companies. Today, it unites already 2,500 different companies, offering the most competitive conditions in Eastern Europe: reduced taxes, flexible employment models, and legal stability. GTAI is already attracting global leaders from all over the world and becoming a hub for Ukraine's tech, fintech, AI ecosystem, and defense tech. For German investors, this is a gateway to world-class digital talent and innovative startups. Finally, the government is offering special incentives for investors: industrial parks, special economic zones, and programs for technology and manufacturing. Made in Ukraine program is promoting Ukrainian products abroad and ensuring they are recognized for quality. Today, Ukraine became a brand. So to conclude my introduction, Ukraine represents the largest reconstruction and investment opportunity in Europe since World War II. We invite German companies to explore projects, connect with Ukrainian partners, and take part in rebuilding a modern, resilient, and transparent digital Ukraine. Once again, the biggest financial risk with Ukraine now is not to invest. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Kartashov. This has been very informative. I know the two ministers have to leave right after the keynote, so thanks a lot to both of you for your very good kickoff to our meeting, and I wish all the best. And I continue with a short interactive part. We would like to gauge the interest into investing in Ukraine, and therefore would like to ask all the German companies that are online now in our webinar to tell us a little bit more about their engagement in the Ukraine market. And for that, I'll hand over to Martin Garber, my colleague, for a short intervention.
Thank you, Eckhard. A warm welcome from my side as well. My name is Martin Garber, and I'm part of the Ukraine team at Germany Trade and Invest. I will be also guiding you through this afternoon. Ukraine is open for investment now. That is what Deputy Minister Pavlo Kartashov just said. And perhaps some of the companies here are already investing in Ukraine. And we would be now very interested to know whether your company is already active in the Ukrainian market. Therefore, we have prepared a poll for this purpose, which will be now activated in the chat. It is anonymous and voluntary and primarily aimed at German or non-Ukrainian companies. So voting is open now, and we will come to the results a little bit later. And perhaps one last remark from my side for the poll. If you are investor and exporter, then investor beats exporter. So please just click investor then. That's it from my side for the moment. Eckhard, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Martin. I hope we'll get a lot of feedback on this small poll. So let's start into the second part, the market overview. And I'm very happy to have Maryna Khlystun with us. She is also from the Ministry of Economy in Ukraine, and you are in charge of the new FDI strategy. I learned that there is already a quite substantive stock of FDIs in the country. I read about $56 billion US dollar in last year, and inflows were around 3.6 billion in 2024, and the German stock in Ukraine has a substantial stake in it. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 2.4 billion FDI stocks from German companies. The German companies are already among the most important investors, as I just told you, and they are most active in areas like agriculture, building materials, energy, and defense. So the strategy will probably give a new, better framework even than before, and we're eager to learn more. So I hand over to you, Maryna.
Well?
Okay, yes. I would say.
Yeah, okay. Let me join Deputy Minister Kartashov in expressing my gratitude for arranging this useful and practical workshop on our way to ensure the very efficient and focused matchmaking between Ukrainian business and project owners and German business and investors. It's really time to invest into transformative recovery, renovation, and resilience of Ukraine and all our partner European community. I will make my presentation very practical today. We'll outline the main indicators in macroeconomic situation, which somehow impacts investors' interest, and make an overview of investment strategy status, which we are going to introduce in November, and highlight some priority sectors currently and their estimated potential for investment. Оксана, як переключати? Не хочу. As for macro financial stability, real GDP, as we see, expanded by 2.9% in 2024. In 2025, growth is forecasted at 2%. Preliminary results show 0.9 year-over-year growth in quarter first of the 2025 and plus 1.7 year-over-year in second quarter of 2025, given 1.3% year-over-year in first half of 2025. Running at 15% year-over-year mid-2025, inflation projected to fall below 10% by the end of 2025 and to 6.6% in 2026 and toward the 5% in the National Bank of Ukraine target in 2027. We have positive growth in the salary and wages, and which is also a good dynamics, as well as we have a very rich and professional, experienced human capital here in Ukraine. The most promising is the positive, very promising positive trends which we see in terms of major deals of 2025. Despite ongoing war-related changes of investing in Ukraine, we observe good signs in the activity of the local and some foreign investors. This table, we pre-selected some interesting recent deals to give you a flavor of the current investment activity. Several deals here are targeting vertical integration, like large domestic retail operator Rush invested in the household detergents producer and separately bought a logistics hub of 100,000 square meters from the private equity firm. Two separate deals in logistics in the western Ukraine with the international logistic companies acquiring controlling stakes in Ukrainian logistic terminals. Public listing of Nasdaq of a major telecom operator Kyivstar, which resulted in the company's capitalization of $2 and $3 billion US. Acquisition of large ride-hailing application cloned by the above-mentioned Kyivstar. These are only a list of some particular examples, but it shows a great trend that it's really time to invest in Ukraine now. Ukraine is committed to becoming a reliable, dynamic investment destination. By leveraging foreign direct investment, we aim to drive resilience, rapid recovery, and long-term growth. I would like to briefly approach the Ukrainians' vision for development of foreign direct investment strategy. We expect for Ukraine and international various oriented economic and business stakeholder community on the way to transformative recovery of Ukraine. We are fully aware that it's not only a matter of solidarity, it's also a good, Ukraine also has a great potential for very commercially viable and socially and economically important projects, along with Ukraine, along with foreign direct investment and foreign investments, be a driver to strengthen relations between countries and within the European Union. The investment strategy is being developed by the Ministry of Economy and led by World Bank Group and IFC as the main leaders, engaging various important stakeholders from strategic consultancy, also from international financial and development finance institutions, major financial actors, as well as business associations, representatives of large corporates, and all important key sectors of business and consultant from Big Four. This strategy is viewed as aligning all our other strategic frameworks related to the economic development, of course, in line with our European accession process and reforms agenda. At URC 2025 in Rome, we made an outline of the strategy, and actually, as we see, this strategy will be built on deepening and prioritization, because we fully are confident that understanding sector needs and sector potential and matching those sectors with potential foreign investees is a key to success. We have conducted a sectoral diagnosis and identified 6 priority sectors for the time being for investment traction, including energy, manufacturing, like capital goods, construction materials, IT and digital services, transport infrastructure and logistics, agri-food, consumer goods, metal and mining, including green steel. These sectors combine strong feasibility, market potential, resources with high desirability, growth, export, sustainability, what makes them the most bankable and impactful opportunities for investors. But of course, this is our basic view, and it's the matter of bilateral cooperation between 2 countries to find among the strategic their perfect match for sure. Ukraine is building a resilient EU-integrated economy by challenging FDI. I already mentioned, and we see also the key target markets identified as main in our strategy, as well as we have and we see that Germany is one of our key partner in investment cooperation. We aimed also to build our approach on targeting specific targeting investors by type, because apart from understanding the sector needs, we need to understand the need of each specific investor by types. As you see, it's many and industry leaders, strategic SOEs, sovereign wealth funds, private equity funds, and the final list, of course, will be in the strategy itself. And the strategic impact targets are reconstruction, access to new markets, upgrading, creating jobs, green agenda, and FDI linkages. So it means that increase FDI-related backward linkages. Sorry. We are preparing a detailed implementation roadmap with clear actions, timelines, and strong coordination mechanisms, including performance monitoring, feedback loops, and active public-private dialogue. At the core of this roadmap are 3 pillars designed to directly address investor concerns. It's de-risking, which includes the insurance, guarantees, legal protection, resilience measures, and also de-risking capital required hard to attract investors to enter the market, and we are carefully working on this with also with our financial partners in Ukraine and internationally with IFI, DFI, European Commission, our local financial actors to develop and provide de-risking instruments which unlock the potential of investment to sector. Reforming it's a very crucial pillar, and we are on the way of the broad reform agenda, particularly with regards to Ukraine plan. And reforming is aimed to improve competition, ensure privatization framework, regularity, clarity, and fulfillment of judicial reform, and catalyzing through a modern investment promotion agency, targeted incentives, supply development, and workforce readiness. And here we are very open also to exchange with Germany on just to learn their experience in investment promotion and to closely cooperate on the operational level between UkraineInvest and relevant German authorities like UkraineInvest and other entities. We are working on developing the focused incentives which would be peculiar to each concrete sector, addressing the investor needs. Together, these three pillars will de-risk investment, improve the business environment, and maximize economic returns. As for the general outlook for the project landscape, so the main thing is to ensure the availability and of the projects to be invested in Ukraine, and this is actually what we are speaking and have on the agenda with our partners and international partners to support developing bankable projects in Ukraine, visibility of those projects. Here you can see that in the framework of actually Ukraine's needs for reconstruction, like was mentioned by Deputy Minister Kartashov, more than $500 billion. We have more than 300 billion of investment opportunities in the next 5-10 years. Based on the estimations made by KSE, Kyiv School of Economics, we have the potential, very high potential for investment in energy, and a big room for new projects to come, transport and logistics, agro, green steel, machinery, and critical materials. This layout and structure gives the first overview to all business community represented here on the potential for investment in Ukraine, and my colleagues from KSE and also UkraineInvest will provide the outlook on existing financial instruments and incentives peculiar to different projects in different sectors of various size, and we are very open to make follow-ups after our workshop and to be in a discussion with either interested German business or potential investors to provide more details either on regulatory framework or project opportunities or existing barriers, concerns on any issues related to investor and business journey in Ukraine. Thank you so much.
Maryna, Khlystun, thank you very, very much for your presentation. It was very insightful and helpful to understand your ambitious program to attract foreign direct investment, and I was also quite impressed by all the structural reforms that go along with your strategy. So I wish you good luck with that, and Thank you for the presentation. We are a little bit running out of time for our current slot, so I ask the next speakers to try to stick to maybe 5 minutes each. The next speaker would be on my agenda, Michał Woźniak, but I see already the presentation of Maxim. All right, good. Then we'll start with Michał, and please keep your intervention short. Thank you.
Thank you, Eckert. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon. I hope you can see the presentation. I will try to do it faster, but I can't promise anything. I'm happy to speak to you today about investment opportunities in Ukraine, and I would also like to extend a little bit on what Germany Trade and Invest is doing and how we can help you with finding those opportunities in Ukraine. So Germany Trade and Invest is the international economic promotion agency of the government of the Federal Republic of Germany, and we help international investors to come into Germany, but we also help German exporters to find out more about economic situation, market trends, business opportunities, and so on and so forth in foreign markets. In this case, we kind of combine those two functions for Ukraine, helping as well or trying to help investors to get into the Ukrainian market. We have, as has already been mentioned by Mrs. Heckmann, compiled a business guide for Ukraine for German companies interested in the market. This includes our normal offer, which we span around almost 150 countries worldwide. But as I said, this is a special support page for Ukraine, also coordinated, of course, with the efforts of the federal government of Germany to support the country. So in July of this year, we combined all our information and on our all our websites on Ukraine into one business guide, where you can find, on the one hand, target group oriented information. So as you can already see here, we inform about the possible support for German companies, not only the support of the Federal Republic of Germany, but we also published in July a broad publication on support that is available worldwide for Ukraine and on how and if it is available for German company as well. So you're invited to look into that. We have also where we also publish information about new tenders and projects going on in Ukraine that are financed mostly by international support institutions, but also by private investors. We have right now around 180 infos on tenders and projects going on. We have also compiled the most important German and Ukrainian partners that are available for you if you plan to join the Ukrainian market, to get active there, that can support you basically all the way. And because we're talking today mainly on about investment in Ukraine, we also have a special part that is well targeted at potential investors. There you can find out about what basically which who are your contacts in the regions of Ukraine. We also started in July a new series on the Ukrainian regions as investment locations. So we've already published a deep analysis about the Odessa Oblast. We have published the last week another one on the Kyiv Oblast, on the Lviv Oblast, sorry, and another three will be coming out until the end of the year, including Kyiv. You can also find information on internet platforms where you can get some kind of an idea how the security situation is right now. We also provide links to portals and public institutions who help foreign investors on the way to Ukraine. Apart from that, we of course also offer I hope comprehensive insight into the Ukrainian economy, so macroeconomic situation, trends, and so on and so forth. But we also concentrate on specific industries where we try to find out the newest trends, the newest opportunities also for German business to get active in. Some of those industries have already been mentioned, so I don't want to get too deeply into it. So the agri-food business, as you probably all know, Ukraine is a large producer of agriculture products. What it doesn't have as much, or where there is room to grow, is basically food processing. So this is a big possibility for international investors as well to join the market. We have the energy sector, of course, apart from rebuilding. There's a need for decentralized energy. There's a need to build up renewable energies. All sectors where German companies can be active, where German companies are already active. For example, Notus Energy and Goldwick Solar are implementing their plans to build up, combined over 1 gigawatt of renewable energies in Ukraine. What already has been mentioned are the natural resources. This is, of course, a long-term plan. There is still a lot of research that has to be done to judge how much potential there is in Ukraine for extracting those natural resources, but companies that are active there are already investing into, for example, titanium, beryllium, or graphite mines to expand their scope and the capacities. You have the health sector, where, of course, there's a lot of need, also because of the war and the casualties that are there. But here as well are potential for investments. German or international companies are already investing, for example, in sectors like pharmaceuticals and also prosthetics in Ukraine, supporting the country, but of course also doing business there. The defense sector is, as probably all of you can imagine, is a very important sector in Ukraine right now, with also special support that has been basically started by the Ukrainian government in the last few weeks. We have published a special on that, where you can read not only about the potential in Ukraine, but also along the east flank of the NATO, where countries are preparing to better defend themselves. Mostly towards Russia. The construction sector here as well are already investments from German companies on the way, not in the construction services as such, because as of right now, German companies basically no potential. However, construction materials and construction the services around construction, planning, and so on, there is potential there. The same goes for TSL to support the incoming support for Ukraine, but also the exports and so on and so forth. Here you've got with DB Cargo and Hamburg Hafen and Logistics, big players already in place. And what already has been mentioned as well, the new law on private-public partnerships, which broadens the scope of the projects that are supported and basically speeds up the processes to get involved in such projects. But all of that, you will get the presentation afterwards. There are all links, so you can click you through and read more about these things that interest you the most. What you can also do is, of course, try and get an overview of the supporting landscape for investment in Ukraine. You've got the public investment management system DREAM, where big projects, including information on financing needs and possibilities, are published by the Ukrainian side, with Prozoro sale, as well as the State Property Fund of Ukraine. You've got possibilities to join the privatization of for example, real estate, buildings, also production sites, and other possibilities to get involved, and also maybe buy cheap and make something out of it. You of course will find on our website, as I already told you, and projects and tenders running for Ukraine. We also offer a newsletter that you can highly customize what markets you are interested in, what information or what sectors you are interested in, and get it directly to your email box, mailbox to basically see it as soon as they come out. And last but not least, the co-partner of today's event, the German platform for reconstruction of Ukraine, gives many possibilities to inform others about your activities, but also to get information on the activities of other companies and players, on what they are doing in Ukraine, exchange views, exchange experiences, find potential partners. And I think the main point of the platform is it's not a business only. You've got also communities, you've got civil society, you've got the research landscape, so there's a broad scope for cooperation. As I said, the presentation will be provided afterwards, so you will get all the links. Should you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me directly. And that's it. Back to you, Eckhart.
Thank you, Michał. Thank you for hurrying up a little bit so that we have enough time at the end for question and answers. And I think it was a very handy overview about all the services also offered by our internet platform. It's a real guide that helps you to find the right spot and the right information you need to get involved into business in Ukraine. So, Maxim, Fedoseienko, over to you. You are with the KSE Institute, the Kyiv School of Economics Institute, which is one of the most important think tanks in your country. And I read that you are offering your service not only to public, but also to the private sector, and beyond analytics and research, you also specialized in developing strategies and recommendations to support a strong and innovative economic environment in Ukraine. So I'm really looking forward to your presentation.
Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. My name is Maxim Fedoseienko. I'm represented here Kyiv School of Economics. Happy to be here today. I will try to be short to save the time and concrete in my presentation. In this part, we will look at concrete investment opportunities here in Ukraine, and we'll look closely to the sectors, what now in the priority for economic development and for Ukrainian government. We have closely worked with Ministry of Economy of Ukraine, like the main stakeholders to investment attractive here in Ukraine, and we are concentrate on the overall activities what help Ukraine build economy and attract foreign investment. So in the beginning, I will show you some slides. You have seen this slide before in the presentation by the Maryna Khlystun. This is like our estimate about overall investment potential of Ukraine in next decade. And as you can see, of course, energy sectors concentrate the biggest part of investment opportunities, and also the big one sectors include transport and logistics, agrarian or agri-food sector, green steel, critical raw materials, This is like main 5 sector what will play crucial role in the economy recovery. Also, these sectors include in the list of priority sectors in the Ukrainian plan. So, as you can see, these sectors in line with government priority, what include Ukrainian plan. Inside Ukrainian plan, there is like 5 biggest milestones in the economy development, energy, agro-industrial sector, IT and digital, critical raw material, and transport. Of course, we understand that defense and dual-use goods will also play crucial roles, and this sector is very important for Ukrainian resilience and our freedom, but also this sector concentrate innovation and new approach in the Ukraine use in this war. So we see last time huge interest of foreign investor exactly in these sectors too, and see shift of our partners what start to look closely to invest in these sectors. So, of course, if we talk about investment opportunities, we need to look in the private sector like main driver, but in another hand, there is huge opportunities in the privatization sector and the concession of state assets. And also Ukraine have a single project pipeline. This is a list of public projects. In previous year, there is first iteration to prepare this overall list of projects, and in this year, government update single project pipeline for budget for the next year. But today we will concentrate in the first part on the project with positive NPV. Additionally, I want to say that Ukraine interesting for Germany company, not only like destination for investment, but also like big market and new market to develop new partnership. Of course, by our estimation, in the 2033, Ukraine will need equipment, what estimate around 40 billions per year. It includes equipment for energy sector, but also heavy and industrial equipment and machinery for construction, mining sector. Additionally, this huge group of equipment for agriculture sector, transport, and electronics sector and machinery tools. If you look closely in every big sectors with huge investment opportunities, we can start from energy sector, of course, and as you can see, Ukraine energy sector very well developed and have different directions. So there is huge opportunities not only in the green energy, but also in the traditional sectors such as oil and gas extraction and refinery. But also we have huge nuclear energy sector that play a crucial role in our energy resilience since full-scale invasion. Also, we have big and well-developed grid system inside Ukraine. So this is all sectors provide not only investment opportunities, but consumption for different types of equipments and machine tools. Yeah. There is some examples of investment project to Just one step back, in previous year, we are launched together with the Ministry of Economy by the request of Ministry of Economy of Ukraine, investment portal. In previous year, we prepare investment guide, but include more than 100 projects and presented, this guide was presented at the ERC 2024. In this year, we prepare investment catalog, what expand to the more than 2,500 of the projects. So we can show you here in this slide and the next part of presentation some concrete examples with NPV positive project in different streams. I just not will concentrate your attention on this information, but you can see that every sector have a lot of different projects in private and public investments. If we talk about transport and logistics, of course, here we have also different types of projects in every types of transport activities. Maybe you know, like project with concession in the seaports, but also Ukraine developed our export logistics, and after the ceasefire, we will repair airports, rebuild our road infrastructure and railways infrastructure and public transport too. This is examples of different types of projects with grain terminal, dry cargo logistics, pilot cargo hub, and modernization of fleet of Danube ports here. Another sectors, the next one, this is agriculture sector with investment opportunities more than 34 billions in the next 10 years. Of course, we have project in horticulture, livestock, but also we need to develop our infrastructure here. This includes irrigation system and system of elevators to save horticulture production. Here you can see also examples of different types of projects. You can find it on our investment portal, so I don't want to talk too much about concrete project. Also, we have opportunities in machinery and have concrete examples of project here. Additionally, we are collect information about critical raw material sector, and you can find information about destination of our deposits and about more than 100 potential project here. It includes like greenfield project, but also include more than 10 concrete projects from our Ukrainian producers. Because, for example, Ukraine have well-developed production sector of titanium, or, for example, magnesium production. But here, combination of different types of projects, what now are ready to invest, and what will need additional work to build it. Yeah, and in this slide, you can see examples of our main project. As I mentioned before, this is investment guide. Also, we prepared in previous year energy investment guide, but concentrate especially in the investment on the energy sector, and the main platform that collect overall information about this project. This is Invest Portal. Also, together with the Ministry of Economy, we prepare financial guide. I don't will go deep inside because my colleague Olga Slyvynska in the next part of presentation will talk in detail about financial instruments, but you can find these products by QR code that you can see in the our screen and also in the investment portal. This is some information about Invest Catalog, what I mentioned before, but include more than 200 of the project and concentrate in 11 strategic sector plus investment funds. So, long story short, this is overall information about investment opportunities. Please look in this project. You can also send for us request to additional information by special form that you can find in the investment portal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maxim Fedoseienko. Very helpful presentation, not only on the huge potential of investments in the specific sectors, but also on concrete projects and where you can find more information on these projects. And I saw in the chat that there are already first questions coming in for the Q&A later on. So thanks a lot. I'd now like to hand over again to Martin Garber with another question on and an interactive part for our companies regarding their activities in the Ukraine. And with that handover, I'd like to say goodbye on my behalf, because I have other commitments, and Martin will guide you through the rest of the workshop. Thanks a lot.
Eckhard, thank you very much for guiding us through the first part of the agenda so far. I'm happy that I may take over at this point. Thank you to Maryna, to Maxim, and also to my colleague Michał for the overview of the Ukrainian market. And as you mentioned, Eckhard, before we move on in the agenda, it is time for the participants, so for you, to take action again. We have prepared a second poll. Participation is again anonymous and voluntary. And since today's focus is on investment, we would be very interested to know whether you or your company are planning to invest in Ukraine, or the ones who already are there to expand an existing investment in Ukraine. The poll is open in the chat, and we will see the results after the next section of our agenda. Then we will have the results of both polls, the first and the second one. So please feel free to vote. Two short reminders, please. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat right now. We will take the questions up then in the Q&A section. And also a reminder to the upcoming speakers, please try to stick to the time slots so that we can finish on time and that we have enough time for the Q&A section. So while you are voting, we keep on going. If Ukraine is a potential investment location for you, either now or in the future, we would like to present the support infrastructure and also the financing instruments that are available from both from the German and from the Ukrainian side. To kick things off, I would like to give the floor to Olga Slyvynska. She is Director of International Relations at the KSE Institute, and she will give us an overview of the available financing sources and I think the risking tools I also read there. KSE Institute has just been introduced, so I can hand over directly to you, Olga, please.
Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, great. Do you see my presentation on the screen?
Yes, it's there.
Cool. Yes, the KSE was already introduced, and I, without further ado, and given that we have very limited time frame, will step into the agenda of my presentation. So, like the previous speakers, and thanks to them, highlighted the number of the opportunities, a kind of investment destination sectors and different projects that already are presented and available for investors on the market in Ukraine. However, of course, investing in Ukraine, and especially in any country during the war, is a very challenging task. And it requires like kind of special treatment and combination of the instruments that would help to make this investment possible. So knowing that, the government of Ukraine, together with the international partners, already for several years are working on introducing kind of 3 pillars. So Maryna already touched it a bit upon in her presentation. but I'll go a bit deeper in terms of the financing tools, the government incentives and risk mitigation mechanisms that are already available on the market, and combination actually of three of them usually help to invest. So in terms of the financing, so in the couple last years, the number of Ukrainian international partners has introduced several packages that now allow to provide financing for Ukrainian companies, and that means that there might be some co-financing for the European companies to invest in Ukraine. I'll go a bit deeper now in all of those, but they definitely include the Ukrainian investment framework, which is the pillar 2 of the Ukrainian facility, the European support package for 50 billion that Europe provided for Ukraine. Then there are a number of the financing programs and limits that are available outside of this package from different international financing organizations. Then there are a number of bilateral support from different countries, and the Ukrainian government is now working on expanding list of those. And of course, now Ukraine is also working on introducing number of private equity funds to enable not just the debt but also equity instruments in investing in Ukraine. So on top of that, understanding that Ukraine needs a bit of special treatment now, the government is also working with the partners on introducing risk mitigation mechanisms like Ukrainian Export Credit Agency. There are a number of the partners countries like international export credit agencies, including the German ones, have the limits and programs that allow to de-risk the investments in Ukraine, both for international companies and for different partners, as well as the number of war risk insurance mechanism are also being introduced, and volume and variety of them increasing, and there is very important agenda to make sure that every investment can be de-risked and insured, and of course the government incentives, and I wouldn't go in much details of those, but there are a number of them, and the colleagues from the UkraineInvest will touch upon the major of them. So starting with the financing mechanisms, and I would say now is the biggest financing program that is allowing Ukrainian investments to happen is the Ukrainian investment framework. So this the tool 9.3 billion euros tool that include both guarantees and the grants. How does it work? So the European Commission provides guarantees and grants to international financing partners, so organizations like EBRD, IFC, KfW, and number of others, and thus de-risk their limits, increasing their possibility to invest in Ukraine. For the European companies, that means that allows also the possibility of co-investments with those companies, and I'll explain and go a bit deeper on the possibilities how to take part in all those programs. So the sectors you see on the slide, so those are the major sectors that are covered by these programs, but they're not exhaustive. And now, we think that dual-use goods will also, Ukrainian government is working on including dual-use goods also in the list of the sectors. So the list of the sectors are expanding. Then part of these fundings will be directed or is already being directed to the supporting of the SMEs through Ukrainian banking system. Part of them needs to be directed to support the green project. And of course, this whole pile covers both public sector and private sector. So out of 9.3, 5.6 has been already kind of allocated on the level of IFIs. So you can see on the screen, all those partners that you can see on the right side of the screen have already been allocated with some financing support from the European Commission, and many of them are now building the pipeline of Ukrainian projects that they're looking to kind of invest, and they might co-invest with the European companies, because one of the requirements of this Ukrainian investment framework is that like every investments or every guarantee that the European Commission is given to the financing partner should be complemented with the skin in the game from the partner, and then some additional co-investments from the other companies, organizations, thus bringing in the higher like multiplier volume and value of the investments in the country. So I'll go a bit deeper. So we've prepared a bit of the tables, and we'll be happy to share the presentation later across like private sector and what IFIs already have limits and what sectors those limits can cover. So for example, if you look to invest into the energy sector, then your partner might be IFC, and you can co-invest with the IFC. They have both programs that cover with the debt financing. They can cover investments with the debt financing, but also now they're introducing the equity financing, and they have kind of limits to invest in some private equity funds or even in the equity directly. So the same as for others partners on the screen across the sectors that their programs are covering. Those are the programs that allow to finance SMEs. So in case you would like to, I don't know, find some smaller opportunities or SME financing or SME opportunities in Ukraine, those are the partners that can finance SME sector. And here is the list of the partners that work both with municipalities and the public sector projects. As was already mentioned during the workshop, so every project that is from the public sector now should be located or is located or can be viewed in the single project pipeline. So the government of Ukraine is now building the single project pipeline, which consolidates all state projects and municipal projects that kind of is prioritized and ready to be invested by the foreign partners. So list of Ukrainian banks that also realize those programs and risk-sharing facilities from the Ukrainian investment framework, and the examples of the project that has been already financed through these mechanisms. And here's like very good examples. For example, you can see like in case of the data group and Volia, the telecom provider, the guarantee amount from the European Commission was 80 million. The rest was co-invested by the IFC, EBRD, and other partners, and the overall amount of the investments in Ukraine was 217 million euros. But those are just the examples, and like as I said, like the partners are now looking for the list of the projects that they will be financing, and all those financing programs are valid and working for the next 2 to 3 years. What is important here to highlight for the European companies, that the European Commission has announced already like second call for expression of interest for the European companies. So if you are a European company and you would like to invest across these sectors that you see on slide, energy, critical raw minerals, processing industry, manufacturing, construction materials, IT, transport, and logistics, and you're looking to invest over 50 into the project that's valued over 50 million euros, and you're looking for the partners. So there is an opportunity to submit the application on this website of the European Commission. So till the 10th of October this year, they're collecting the applications for all European companies that are looking to invest in Ukraine once and ready to co-invest at least 10% of the project cost. So at least 5 million euros to be co-invested. Then there is very like easy procedure to submit the application on the website of the European Commission. European Commission collects all the application and inquiries from the European companies, and then it gives an opportunity to exactly match make your like investments, your desire, desired project with the limits, the open limits that exactly those partners have that I showed on the screen in the beginning of my presentation. So in case you already have or you foresee some projects over 50 million euros in Ukraine that you would like to co-invest, and you have 10% of the co-investment amount from your own money, then there is worth applying to this call for expression of interest, and it gives like higher opportunity or higher chances to be co-financed with one of those international financing partners that were earlier on the screen. So that's with regards to the Ukrainian investment framework. But beside that and outside of that, we see that number of the European partners and overall like DFIs are opening their investment limits to invest in Ukraine. And we've tried to collect it here on the side, the main ones that have already limits and looking to again build the pipeline across the sectors. Of course, we hope to see KfW is the part of the Ukrainian investment framework, but we will hope to see more kind of German DFIs, maybe DEC here as well. An example of the projects that have been financed by the development finance institutions from the different countries, like agricultural sector, financial sector, services, and one more agri-food. The other part, like coming from the financing to de-risking, so like I would say that the major de-risking partner in the investing in Ukraine are expert credit agencies from the partner countries. So in case of the German businesses, that of course would be Euler that already has like open limits with good coverage to de-risk Ukrainian investments from the European companies in Ukraine. So we've prepared here and actually analyzed, and you can see the QR code on the slide, the programs from 34 different like international expert credit agencies, what investments they cover, what products do they cover related to Ukraine, and what limits they can have. So like every kind of the international company can find a partner here. Again, list of
Olga, just a short intervention. Just 1 more minute, so we can go to the next.
I'm finishing already. Yes,
perfect.
The list of examples, and maybe the final slide on the like war risk insurance. So I touched upon that a bit. So those all are the products that already working in Ukraine. So covering inland cargo, covering commercial property, covering some foreign exporters, and you can see the limits and the partners. So all those that are already providing working products. So like there is an opportunity to contact them or to find the product that will help to like ensure the investments or ensure the construction of some assets in Ukraine. So I'll probably stop here. Yes, again, we'll guide to the financial guide that we've created and where we analyzed all the working programs. So please download if you have any further questions. We're happy to guide you or give a bit more information here. Thank you so much, and waiting for your questions.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you very much. And it was very good you mentioned the deadline on October 10th, so the companies can keep that in mind as it is already in 1 month. I'm particularly pleased now to introduce the next organization because that is our counterpart in Ukraine, namely UkraineInvest. Just like us, they do investment promotion, support investors, and promote Ukraine as an investment destination. So a very important point of contact for all potential investors that are here today. In 2024 alone, more than $1 billion in FDI were attracted and supported by UkraineInvest. So very impressive figures. Dear Kateryna, Prokhoda, Kateryna comes from the Department of Legal Affairs and Regulatory Policy, and she will now give us an insight into state support for large investment projects. Kateryna, I hope you are here and can hear us, and the stage is yours.
Dear Martin, sorry for interrupting you. Kateryna is here, but is muted. Can you maybe manually let her speak?
We will try. Just give us a second.
It's already done. She should be able to turn on her mic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Please just let me share my presentation.
It's there, Kateryna.
Do you see my presentation?
Yes.
On the screen? Thank you. Thank you very much. As was stated before, I represent UkraineInvest, and today I'm here to briefly outline the procedure of obtaining state support for implementing investment projects with significant investments. And the mechanism of this is as follows. If the respective project and the investor meet the requirements stipulated by law, by special law, the state represented by the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine enters into a special investment agreement with such an investor. And accordingly, the investor obtain an opportunity to receive state support during the implementation of investment project. State support is provided in the amount of 30% of the planned investments. And it's worth to know that by significant investments, we mean investments in key sectors of the state's activities. Namely, it is processing industry, waste management, transport, warehousing, logistics. Also, it can be education, R&D project, and etc. And these investments should exceed 12 million euros. So let's go to the next slide. So take a look on the forms of state support. State support can be provided in the form of exception from corporate income tax for 5 years from the moment of filing the application by investor to tax authorities. Also, it can be an exception from value-added tax and customs duties for importing of new equipment, and also it can be components to it needed for the implementation of investment project with significant investments. Also, one of the form is a simplified procedure for granting the right for use of land plots of state property with the preemptive right for acquisition of such a land plot. And next one, we have compensations for costs of construction of engineering and transport infrastructure necessary for the implementation of the project, and compensation for costs of connection to engineering and transport infrastructure also. And now I would like to outline key requirements to investments projects. The first one, as I stated before, the amount of investment must exceed 12 million euros. And this second requirement is the creation of at least 10 new jobs with an average salary that is higher than the average salary in the relevant region that is used to implement the project. The next one, the project must involve the construction, also the modernization, maybe technical re-equipment of investment objects. The next one, The project implementation period should not exceed 5 years. And the last one, the project must be implemented in one of the areas provided for by the law, as I stated before. In addition, we have requirements for the investor, for the ownership structure and financial capacity to ensure financing of the further investment project. For example, the investor shall comply with at least one of the criteria for financial capacity. Namely, it can be capital adequacy criteria, it can be net operating cash flow adequacy criteria, or it can be criteria for availability of funding sources. And now let's take a look at the next slide. As you can see, in order to obtain a positive conclusion on signing an agreement with the state and receiving state support, the applicant must submit a considerable amount of documents, but at the same time, I would like to note that our team has prepared both methodological and sample forms of the necessary documents in order to facilitate process for the investor as much as possible. The following slides provide detailed information on the application preparation procedure, in which our team accompanies the applicant at each stage, from the number one, investment project check, to the last one, submitting the application. And the procedure for evaluation of the investment project with significant investments by the authorized body. Such details are necessary at the stage when we start working with the potential investor to prepare the necessary documents. And there are a lot of information on the nuances of providing state support, but unfortunately, due to the timing, I cannot cover everything. But I would, if you are interested in investing in Ukraine, we will be happy to accompany you in this process, provide all necessary advice, assistance, information, and that's all on the free of charge basis, of course. And as of now, that is it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Kateryna, thank you very much. You were just in time, perfect. So now let us switch to the German side and start with the federal investment guarantees, an important pillar of the German government's support package for international business. They protect German companies from political risks such as war and when they invest abroad. The German government continues to offer investment guarantees for Ukraine despite the ongoing war, and this measure, the investment guarantees, are administered by PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, on behalf of the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. Matthias Koster is with us today. He is responsible for the Ukraine desk and will explain exactly how it works. And Matthias, just one remark again, please try to stick to the time slot, to the time limit. Thanks.
I will, Martin. Thank you very much for having me. First of all, can you hear me and can you see the slide?
Perfect, both.
Okay, great. So then I would like to start with the note that I'm absolutely aware of the fact that this slide looks really ugly. However, I want you to be able to work with this slide afterwards, to reread things, to recap things, to spread the word. And that's why I put so much text on it, full sentences, so that the slide speaks for itself. Okay, right now you can just listen to me and I will guide you through it. I will tell you the most important points, and I have only got this single slide, so I can stick with the time limit. As you may know, the investment guarantees of the German federal government can be used by German businesses to protect their investments abroad against political risks, such as war risks, such as convertibility and transfer risks, and expropriation. These guarantees are used all over the world, and they are also used in Ukraine. When Putin's aggression against Ukraine was expanded, the German government decided not to close this instrument for Ukraine. They kept it open, although political risk, of course, had risen dramatically. At the same time, they also decided not to constrain the scope of cover for war risk. They kept it as it was. So the scope of cover for war risk, which you can get in Ukraine today, is the same that you could get, let's say, in 2005, although today, of course, the risk is considerably higher. What the German government could have done as well is to make the guarantees for Ukraine more expensive as a reaction to the risen risk. Again, they did the opposite. They even made the guarantees cheaper for Ukraine. Today, investment guarantees for Ukraine are as cheap as never before. And these three things, keeping the instrument open for Ukraine, not constraining the scope of cover for war risk, and making the instrument even cheaper, these three things worked. And they led to a very large demand for investment guarantees for Ukraine. In 2023 and 2024, Ukraine was the #1 country amongst all countries regarding the number of approved applications. Since the expansion of Russia's aggression against Ukraine, the German federal government issued about 50 guarantees for new German direct investments in Ukraine. If we look at 2024, the amount or the volume of approved guarantees for Ukraine was at about 107 million. The total guarantee volume which existed for Ukraine at the end of 2024 was at about 400 million euros. Again, in 2024, if we look at the industries, guarantees were issued for projects in various industries such as the energy sector and the automotive industry in particular, but also for projects in banking and insurance, construction, mechanical engineering, wood, paper, infrastructure, etc. If we look at this year, the first half of 2025, the volume of approved guarantee applications was at about 250 million, so more than twice as high than the volume that was issued in 2024 in total. And with this, Ukraine was the #1 country regarding the volume of guarantees that were issued in the first half of 2025. The last point is one that I would like to allude to briefly. This instrument is, as you understood, a protection instrument, a hedging instrument. It is not providing financial means to investors, but for this there is a different instrument which will be introduced later on, and these two instruments can be combined. They have been combined frequently. So if you think about investing in Ukraine as a German business, please be aware of the fact that you can protect your investment against political risks using these guarantees. And if you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me also after this event. Thank you.
Wow, Matthias, very impressed, right on time and perfectly on the point. Then we can directly move on to another important pillar in the support package of the federal government, the export credit guarantees, so-called Hermes Deckung, or in English Hermes cover. They protect German exporters and banks against political and commercial risks in international business. They are available for Ukraine, and same as with the investment guarantees, the German government has even expanded and simplified the coverage. This measure is administered by Euler Hermes, that's why Hermes cover, Hermes Deckung, on behalf of the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. Michał Geske is the Senior Underwriting Manager, CIS, and he will give us an insight. Please, Michał.
Thank you very much, Martin, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I hope that you are all able to hear me and to see my presentation.
Yes, yes.
That's perfect. The instrument of the export guarantees, or the ECAs, as it's also called, Export Credit Agency, has already been referred to a couple of times today. So I would like to focus on a few key aspects also with regard to the time we have left. In principle, as Export Credit Agency, there are two pillars how we can support German exports. And the first one is the one where we were originally set up with to secure the risks that arise for German exporters when they have transactions abroad. And principally the payment risks, either short-term or medium-long-term. So if they are offering a supplier credit, or the manufacturing risk if something happens to the transaction prior to delivery, and they have production costs, and also the risk of a non-percalling of contractual guarantees. So these are major risks, and there are other securities available under our scheme. But the other one is quite more interesting with regard to investments, because it is also possible to offer long-term, medium and long-term finance under our cover based on the German export contracts. So out of the German export contract, out of 85% can be financed by a German bank with our coverage. And this has several opportunities and advantages for the respective investors. As Martin has said, we are running the instrument on behalf of the German government. So our coverage is not out of Euler Hermes balance sheet. It's based on the German household, or the Germans' financial strength. So therefore it benefits from the AAA rating of our government, and therefore it reduces the risk margin of banks offering attractive financing conditions. And the other issue is that what we have is that we can offer really long-term tenors, and usually much longer tenors than the commercial side can offer. In principle, it's up to 15 years that we are able to offer, or for so-called climate-friendly projects, even 22 years. So renewable energy, to give an example. And one thing with regard to Ukraine, as it has been mentioned before, when the war started, our government kept open both instruments, the investment guarantees and our export guarantees as well, with the aim to support Ukraine in the best possible way in this situation. And therefore, and this is one key message I want to deliver today, we have a country policy, but our guardian authorities really have shown the strong interest to support Ukraine. So therefore, if what I will tell you in the aftermath really doesn't fit to 100% to the project you have in mind, I really can just ask you to seek the contact to us, to talk to us, that we can try to find solutions, because a strong flexibility from the German government is there in order to support the most projects in the best possible way. So then coming to the conditions we have for cover, we have a country ceiling, as has been shown on one of the slides before, of 250 million euros. In principle, but this is only for medium long-term projects. In short term, there are no restrictions of cover, and the amounts that we have covered there in the last years are really significantly above the 250 million euros. So there's no limit for short term, and we have really significant amounts there. In the medium long-term sector, transactions really take longer to be fulfilled in the end. So therefore, we haven't seen that strong numbers with regard to cover transactions. The demand is there, but it's they're quite difficult to finalize them with regard to finding financing solutions. But the German DEG is currently working on such a solution, so they will present in the aftermath. So for medium-sized transactions, that's possibility. For small transactions, most exporters are able to offer supplier credits, and for bigger projects, we need to talk definitely. as I said, we have 250 million country ceiling, and in principle, the single transaction should not exceed 10 million euros. However, if the project deserves a special promotion, so if it has a strong impact on the country of Ukraine, or if it has a strong impact for the German exporter, these are very good arguments to cover higher volumes. And in the recent past, significantly higher projects were granted cover or were given promises of cover. They haven't been finalized yet, but promises of cover have been issued. We need to look closely with regard to covering local content and foreign sub-supplies. There's no formal limit, but we need to look closely to what degree they can be included. In principle, it is 51% of German content, globally spoken, but with regard to our limited funds available for cover, we need to make a more detailed look upon it. And what I still can say, in principle, all forms of financing are able to be covered. So being it corporate risk when you base our due diligence on the financial strength of a borrower. So in this case, audited financial statements after IFRS would be highly appreciated. On the other hand, we can work with local bank securities or with a state guarantee. So all options are available, and I only can ask you, if it really doesn't fit 100% to what I have said, what you have in mind, please call us and we'll try our very best to find a solution, because our guardian authorities really are flexible to support Ukraine in the best possible way. And having said this, I want to thank you very much for your attention, and please do not hesitate to contact me if any questions arise. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michał, and very well said. If you have any questions, don't be hesitant, get in contact with Euler, Hermes, or any of the agencies that are speaking today, also with us, with Germany Trade and Invest. Now we come to another German institution that supports in the Ukraine business, DEG. DEG stands for Deutsche Investitions und Entwicklungsgesellschaft. It is a development finance institution and a subsidiary of the German Development Bank, which is very well known, I guess, KfW. DEG also offers support for German investments in Ukraine, including programs such as Develop and Impact Connect. And to conclude this section of the agenda, we have with us Jan Heinemann. He is Senior Investment Manager at DEG, and he will present German financing schemes for investments in Ukraine. Jan, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks for the introduction. I will share my screen as well. Let's see if it works. Okay, so you should now see my screen. Is that all right?
Yes, it's okay. Working, and we can well hear you.
Okay, excellent. So once again, thank you, Martin. Good afternoon, everybody. Being the last speaker today, I am already mentally prepared to keep it rather short. So it's a pleasure to speak to you today about DEG's work in Ukraine, mainly through the Impact Connect program. So what I will do is to only give a very brief introduction into DEG as such, and to use the opportunity to set the stage for the short presentation on Impact Connect. So DEG, as you mentioned, Martin, is financing private enterprises in developing countries and emerging markets for over 60 years now, with debt financing and equity solutions and everything which is in between across different client types. So we finance companies, but we also refinance banks, funds, and greenfield projects, for instance. DEG is based in Cologne, Germany, with a network of local offices that you can see on this slide. Its portfolio runs at over 11 billion euros by now. And within the Southeast Europe Caucasus region, Ukraine has always been an important market, and it still is an important market, with an exposure of about 50 million euros currently across different Ukrainian companies and funds. But DEG's most successful activity in Ukraine on the financing side in the past 3 years since the 22 Russian invasion, however, was the so-called Impact Connects program with German companies. So this program was conceived by the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, together with the EG, initially for Africa, and then broadened about 2 years ago to a large number of developing countries. Among these, also broadened to Ukraine. And its objective is to offer financing to German companies for the operations of their subsidiaries in developing and emerging countries, and thereby creating positive social and environmental impact. The program is directed towards established companies rather than very new project ventures. This is always an important remark to make. I also have a slide in a minute that shows some project examples and names, so you have an idea of the sort of type and size of companies that typically make use of the program, but it's the typical German SME, I would say. So there is a special focus also on Ukraine since about 2 years, for which we have received additional funding back then from BMZ. And the program is relatively simple in terms of its structure, and it is quite attractive for the client. So we can grant loans of up to 10 million euros by now. The lower threshold is 500,000 euros, and dispersed to the local entity of the German company, normally, which is then backed by the commitment of the German mother company that it will repay the loan. In Ukraine transactions, however, we tend to disperse to the German parent company, which then has to channel the funds down to its local subsidiary. And this is mainly due to the risk sharing approach that is mentioned here on the slide, because using this transaction structure allows the German company to apply for an investment guarantee against political and war risks in parallel to going through the Impact Connect internal approval process. So this was mentioned by Matthias Koster from PwC. There are lots of synergies in the process because PwC and DEG work very closely together in this process. And mainly applying this structure and this scheme, we have financed 7 projects of 6 companies in total by now in Ukraine, reaching a total financing volume of about 34 million euros. Applying them in strategically important sectors for the Ukrainian economy, like renewable energies, building materials, logistics, or agriculture. Running out of time almost, just for you, as I mentioned, a very quick overview of the overall portfolio of the Impact Connect program. We have lent almost 300 million euros by now in 21 countries, and have thereby financed 88 projects. A couple of, I would say, household names are there for you to get a feeling of the typical client, but we're always open for any project proposal by German companies. With that, I'll end my presentation. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you may have. And yeah, thanks for your attention. Handing back to GTAI.
Thank you, Jan. Thanks to all the speakers today. Before you, dear participants, have the opportunity to ask your questions, let us look at the results. I owe you the results of the 2 polls we had before. And according to our polls, we had 18% of the companies, 18, are already investing in Ukraine, and 25% are exporters to Ukraine. And this is a surprisingly high number. 88% of companies that participated in the poll are planning to invest or expand their investment in Ukraine, either now or after a possible peace treaty. So I think that's a very impressive number. And in the poll, after you have heard all this, we would be interested to see if all what we told you today is helping you, if this might change your view of Ukraine and investing in Ukraine. And that's why my colleague Michał has prepared another poll for you in the chat. For sure, we were not able to cover all the details in the presentations in the past 90 minutes, 2 hours, or perhaps your company has specific concerns that you would like to address today. And then you now have the opportunity to clarify these, let's say, open issues in the last section in the Q&A. The supporting agencies are now available to answer your questions. You are welcome to ask questions in the chat, still ongoing, or perhaps you already did that. We had one question before, or you can, of course, address them directly. Your microphone